What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of La Liga Career Mode. This is episode number 37. And we started today's stuff on the back of our win over Valencia, where Scott Sterling, aka Luis Maximiano, made that incredible save towards the end of the game with his face. That was incredible, wasn't it? You rarely see stuff like that in the game. It's so funny when it does happen though, you know. But even so, won the game by a goal to nil. Of course, the win over Apoel to put us through to the Europa League knockout stage. We'll go into the preliminary round and face a Champions League knockout team, so a team that finished third in the Champions League group stage. There'll be some big teams we could be facing, but avoided the embarrassment of getting knocked out in the Europa League at the group stage. And heading into the first game of today's episode, as we know, Suarez still down. Ateki not fit enough to start just yet. First game, Levante away from home. Last season, one of our closer threats, if you will, for a European place for last season. In the end, we finished in 5th place, well clear of them. But facing them away from home in Valencia, I was thinking, okay, alright, just recently I had a really tough run of form where we lost, I think it was 3 or 4 on the bounce and failed to beat Osasuna as well. How are we going to get on in this game? Our first away day since those 2 wins against Valencia and Apoel. Well, perfect start, 15 minutes in, and this guy is just on absolute flames. And don't you just love it when you sign a player and you think, you know, do alright, decent little budget deal, and he just goes ballistic. Randy Nteka has now got 11 goals in 11 games. Yep, 2 in 22 minutes for our number 17, and going from 10 in 11 to a perfect 1 in 1. 11 goals in 11 games for the former Rayo Vallecano forward. How much do we sign him for? 10 mil, I think it was. What an absolute bargain. And I just love it, you know, when you sign a player and you're not expecting much. Obviously you want him to do well, but for Nteka, for example, it's only really signed just to provide cover for Luis Suarez, who ordinarily plays the vast majority of our games. Now down, of course, to the broken metatarsal. He's started quite a few of our games this year with tactical changes to a 4-4-2 and also in place of Suarez, who's down right now, and he's done better than I could have asked. And whilst Levante did half the deficit soon after we went 2 goals up, I still felt we'd get a 3rd goal in the first half, restored a 2-goal cushion, and I felt it would be this guy, and it was. A hat-trick of assists for Antonio and a hat-trick for Randy Nteka. That's his 2nd of the season. Yep, 2 hat-tricks in 1 half of the season for Randy Nteka. And, you know, I mentioned it a few episodes ago. I don't know what to do with this guy, man, because look, Suarez's broken metatarsal's got him on the sidelines right now, so of course Nteka's going to start up top. But when Luis comes back, I tell you, I don't know if I'll throw him straight back in the first team. I mean, he was our top scorer the past 2 years, but this guy has got more goals scored than games played this year. A hat-trick in the first half. I'll be honest, in the second half, didn't really attack much, just mainly conserved energy to make sure no one else would get injured, passed the ball around, looked to play primarily heavy-based possession football. But the job was done in the first half, courtesy of our number 17. It's 12 goals in 11 games. That's unbelievable. And all I'm thinking is, as Suarez is coming back here right before New Year's Eve, all I'm thinking is, like, had I started him in every game since the start of the season, he could be on course. And he would be on course right now for an Ivan Toney-esque 40-goal league season. I don't think he's going to make it now because this is match day 18. And listen, he'll still have a chance to get close, but I don't think he'll be able to do it because of the games he's missed through being a bench striker when Suarez was preferred. But Nteka, man, I can't get over it. And I love it. I really do. You know, when you sign a player, you don't expect that much, but they just go absolute ham. Randy Nteka, I like the look of him, but he's exceeded all my expectations. Still, great to get the win. It's 3 straight for Granada, and I was thinking, right, if there was ever a time to face Real Madrid, it's right now. Back-to-back champions in La Liga. Top of the table, right before the halfway stage. This is it. Final game of the calendar year. 3 straight wins. Let's get a big scalp against Real Madrid. Haven't beaten them in the series so far. This is our time. Well, tough start. They looked a better team in the early stages, and 16 minutes in, Ruben Neves, the former Wolves midfielder, makes it 1-0 and gives Real Madrid the lead. Speaking of former Porto midfielders, can we just say, Like, I feel really bad for Porto right now. Like, you know, obviously this video will be coming out a few days after the signings have gone through or will be announced to be going through. But we've just seen, or I've just seen, that Vitinha is going to join PSG for, I think it's 40 million. And Fabio Vieira is going to join Arsenal for, I believe, less than that. I mean, I feel really sorry for Porto, you know, I really do. You think about the players they've lost and the star quality they've lost in recent years. Luis Diaz, for example, going to Liverpool last season. What a signing he's been for Jurgen Klopp. I mean, the star talent they've lost in the past few years, it's painful, isn't it? And, you know, don't get me wrong, obviously, at a time, those players would leave at some point anyway, but you think for the fees they've gone for, particularly Vitinha leaving for 40 million and Vieira for less than that as well. Fabio Vieira, lest we forget, is 22. He's literally just turned 22. I mean, it's tough, man. And I do feel sorry for Porto because don't get me wrong, like they're a team with, you know, rich history, and there's no doubt about it. You know, Portugal and the Portuguese, you know, footballing system, like they just have an abundance of young talent in the Primeira Liga. You know, Benfica, Porto, and Sporting, all three of the traditional, what you call, big teams in Portugal, have always been able to produce brilliant talent. And, you know, Ruben Neves, for example, leaving to Wolves back in the Championship. I think it was a record fee back then, wasn't it? You know, like, there's no doubt about it. Whilst they're going to lose Vitinha and Fabio Vieira, you know, this window, they will find other talents and world-class talents to develop, but it still stings, doesn't it, when you've seen these players grow up with you and they've got such an abundance of quality, and two of them leave basically within the space of 1 week, you know, for deals which, you know, in today's modern football world, let's say this right now, let's be totally honest, 40 mil, and I know it sounds ridiculous when I say this, but it's true. 40 mil is not a lot of money. 40 million is not a lot of money for a class player, and they've lost two of them for around the same fee in the same week. They could have got more for both Vitinha and also Fabio Vieira, but I think release clauses might have played a part in that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Porto fans, but even so, it's tough. I think you got to feel sorry for Porto right now. It's so tough to be. I mean, I imagine it's so tough to be a fan of one of those clubs, seeing two amazing talents leave for what you'd imagine could have been less than valuation deals in the same week as well. But they will be back, and they will, of course, develop much better talents and similar talents, I should say, as the years go by. Portugal is just a breeding ground for young talent, as we know. So anyway, on the back of the 1-1 draw of Real Madrid, do you know what? I didn't really want to talk about that game. I'm going to be honest, man. Like, oh my God, you would have seen the stats, man. Like, seriously. How did I not win that game? I mean, Real had a better start, you know, Maximiano made a great save and then never scored the opener. But after that, it was all Granada, man. Like, seriously, I dominated that game, hit the woodwork. It was Nico who fired in our leveler. But man, oh man, I remember after that game, I looked at the stats and I was like, oh man, I looked at the stat sheet and I was like, was it really that one-sided? And I looked back over the highlights and I was like, yeah, it was. Like, I literally dominated that game in the second half in particular. I should have gone on to find a winner. Sadly, I couldn't. But it does mean we remain in very close proximity with the league leaders and the holders, Real Madrid. They've won it the past 2 years in the save. And I've got no doubt right now, with Nteka in fine form, 12 goals, joint top scorer in the league, 12 in 12. Suarez is coming back. Ateki makes his return in our third and final game here against Almeria. I have no doubt we're going to stay in a title race between now and the end of the season. I trust my team. I don't believe I'm going to fade away. Yes, I've had some tough moments this season. Yes, we've had some bad luck with the injuries, but I do believe I'll be able to stay in the title race all season long. But it's those games right there where you think about missed opportunities, you know. If we could have beaten Real Madrid, first of the two battles this year, as you know, in La Liga, we talk about it a lot. It goes head-to-head record before goal difference. That would be huge psychologically, but man, I mean, I love it though. Like I talked about before, you know, when you're doing an RTG, it's so cool when like you realise there's a point where you can start to challenge the big teams and you know, target wins like I did in that game there. It's so cool how much we've grown. Back in season 1, take on Real Madrid, and I'm lucky if we limit them to 3 goals, you know. But now it's like, now we can beat them. Like we're just as good, you know. So unlucky not to win that game. But again, the point does keep us in the title race. It's such a close one though right now. I mean, really, I'd say there's 5 teams that have got a chance to win it at the halfway stage. But for our third and final game, it was indeed Almeria, and unlike the Real game, we did not create many chances. We had the lead early through you-know-who, Randy and Nteka, but in stoppage time in the game, Almeria hadn't put me under any pressure whatsoever. Well, I just turned a big bid down from Hertha Berlin for him. I don't want to sell him. and he just gave away a penalty in stoppage time, and I couldn't believe it. But it was such a soft penalty, ref. I mean, he just tripped over his own feet. The contact was minimal. Such a soft penalty to give. But you know the old saying, ball don't lie. Basically, the final kick of the game. And João Pedro denied with, let's be honest here, a shocking penalty, with Luis Maximiano guessing correctly and turning it beyond with a trailing arm to prevent Almeria scoring delayed equalising goal. Ball don't lie, ref. Ball don't lie. Soft spot kick should never have been given, not in my book. Maybe I'm being a little bit biased here. But even so, Maximiano with the save ensures we do grind out the 1-0 victory. And I've mentioned it many times before, that's what you got to do, man. That's what champions need to do. If you're going to win, there are some games where you're not playing very well, but you still need to find a way to get W. Exactly what we did there, courtesy of Maximiano's penalty save in stoppage time. You'd love to see it. So, league table, 18 games to go. Had we beaten Real, we'd be top. But instead, us and Atletico are 1 point behind. Don't forget Simeone's side had a head-to-head record on us right now. And with 2 points clear of Barca in 4th as well. It's a crazy tight title race. I think it will stay this way for a long time. But Granada are firmly in it. And we're going absolutely nowhere. But that will end today's episode of La Liga Carrera, guys. Big fan. You fortunately enjoyed it. If you haven't, please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day. And I'll see you for the next episode of La Liga Career Mode very soon.